Hello everyone. Technical difficulties, of course. How are you all going? Welcome to the round 13 lockout countdown. Hopefully you all can hear me okay. I just realized I'm echoing quite a bit. And the reason for that is my room's got less stuff in it. Hold on. Anyway, let's see if that's a little bit better. I opened my doors, should absorb some. I've got a few shirts hanging there that should absorb some of the sound waves. Hopefully no microwave. Yeah, look, let's fingers crossed that does not happen again. But how's everyone going out there? Team list should have dropped for the Parramatta Sharks game tonight. Let's have a quick look. Anything crazy? Nope. Blaise Talangi still on the bench. Junior Polo to the bench as well. An absolute shock horror. Will McGregor named to start for the Sharks. Looks pretty much 1-17. Atkinson 5'8". Trindle halfback. So probably playing on the right hand side, I would assume. How's everyone going? And I'll go through my trade dilemma. Less stuff was in microwave thrown out. No, not quite. The microwave has not been thrown out. The microwave is actually not the issue. I have a suspicion it was the washing machine. You can blame the washing machine for Tuesday's erratics and antics. Yeah, it was mad. It was pretty mad. But yeah, I think it was the washing machine. But at the moment, YouTube is saying excellent connection. We're gonna keep going on that basis, and any other problems, we'll see what happens. I've put a poll up on the chat as well. Help me out with a 2RF. I have a feeling who I know I'm going to get, although it's not who actually the chat is voting for. So the chat is voting for Jacob Preston is number 1, 46%. The others are Nickera, Jack DeBellin, Dylan Lucas / other, like a Teague Wilton or something like that. Most of you are saying Preston. Interesting. I have thought about this quite a lot, so I'll let you know what I'm thinking with my trades, guys. But thank you everyone who's already here. Benny G, got the mud cake in the oven, moist levels rising. Love to hear that. That is awesome to hear, Benny G. I'm Lockie. Do I think Sam Walker? Excuse me. I cooked some chicken just before getting onto the stream, and I used quite a bit of spices because I like spices, and I think they've got stuck in my throat. But thank you all for joining already. Hopefully we go through okay for the next kind of 45 minutes, and I'll answer as many of your questions as I can. Max Plath is an option, but he does miss round 14, which isn't ideal, but could be actually someone I should consider. Jack DeBellin, meat potato, absolutely. Nathan Pup, thank you so much for the $7.99 donation. Very, very kind of you. Hey man, trading Lussick to hands to free up cash up. Ride my luck a bit, and Blaise to Armstrong to be able to bring Fafita next week. Thoughts? I like Blaise to Armstrong. I think people who are thinking of selling Blaise to Lungi, I know it's not ideal with a negative break even, but look, he's named on the bench again. We have no idea what his role could be. He could play a bit of dummy half, but he's named on the bench kind of suggests to me that, look, the cash gen is eventually going to slow down pretty quickly. And he's been really good for making us money. But yeah, I think at this point now, I'm ready to try to move into guns and getting the points and things during this buy period. Yes, he will make a little bit more cash this week, but I also think not a bad idea to sell him for like an Armstrong who is guaranteed for at least until round 20, you'd have to think. You free up 150k. The Lussick to hands one is less straightforward. I think I've seen a few people making this move. I played around with it as well, but again, we just don't know what the role is going to be like with Brendan Hands. I'd be happy to see what happens with Hands this week in his role. If he gets full 80 and Lussick is again out of the picture, then look, he's got a 21 break even, so Brendan Hands is not going to go up crazy up in price. Maybe we can make that move next week potentially. But in terms of taking that punt to be able to free up money to get Fafita next week, I really like getting it Fafita next week. So yeah, I think I'm pretty on board with those moves. So Arnav is saying, anyone looking at Bryce Cartwright? I know people are looking at Bryce Cartwright. I don't know if I can. I've already overloaded my team with Eels, with Dylan Brown. I've got Sean Lane still there, which is annoying. I've still got Joey Lussick. Would I see Blaise or Fuller for Teddy this week? Oh, that's a tough one. Does Fuller also have a negative break even? I'm just going to double check. I can't remember. I haven't seen this for a while. No, he's got a 21 break even. I'd probably sell Talangi just to you get a bit more cash. Or you know what? You'd rather sell Fuller longer term, but I guess you free up more cash going Talangi out this week. I'd probably sell Fuller just because he's guaranteed to miss out next week. At least Talangi could play next week, and he does have a negative break even. So yeah, I'd actually probably sell Fuller. In terms of what I'm thinking in terms of trades, guys, so I want Tedesco, and Talangi is the best way for me to go to him. So Talangi to Teddy via Kale Iro. So I have to do it tonight because Talangi's playing. But my dilemma is, selling... Well, firstly, there's two dilemmas. One, I could sell Nico Hines. I can't sell Lussick to Brendan Hands to make the money work. I could. If I wanted to use all three trades, I could be a bit cheeky and go... Sorry, let me just quickly do this. I actually haven't even seen what this trade could look like, but let's say I wanted to get in Brendan Hands, or let's say if I wanted to free up money to get in someone like a Fafita maybe next week. Angus out for some back rower could be, I don't know. People are saying Preston. I'm thinking personally maybe a Nickera, and I'll give it reasons why. 224k, that's like enough money for me to next week and go maybe Sean Lane out to Fafita, and if I sell Hines to free up more money, I could do that as well. But I don't think I'm going to do that Brennan Hands move. So I think what I'm more likely to do is just get in the back rower. People are thinking Wilton, Trindle back in great run. Yeah, so I'm the only doubt I'm having with Preston. I know Preston was the most highly voted one by people on that poll. With Preston, I think the next 4 to 6 weeks when Kickout's out, he's good for 80 minutes because that's what he was last year, 80-minute back rower. He has scored a few tries in the last few weeks, which has helped his scores a little bit. He still hasn't played the full 80, but I think we can kind of look over that due to just being integrated back into the team after having a bit of an injury. But I'm looking at the guy who I want to get in that second row. I think I'm going to have to keep this guy probably long-term, pretty much for the rest of the year. Preston is really good for 13, 14, and 16. Doesn't cover round 19. Looking at my numbers, I had a look at my numbers. I'm okay for round 16. I've already got 12 players as it currently stands. So I only need to bring in one more and I've got round 16 covered. Round 19 is where I'm struggling a little bit. I only have 9 players at the moment. So someone like Sharks players like Britton Nickera, he's good because he covers round 13 and he also covers round 19. So he gives me one extra player in round 19, which is handy. Sharks do just have a really good draw for the rest of the season. I know he hasn't been the most impressive this year so far. Last few weeks have been a little bit underwhelming. But if I look long term, there's no risk of him playing Origin or anything like that. He's a Kiwi. So he's fine. I think the Eels matchup is pretty good as well. We know that the Eels are leaky. But yeah, good run. Broncos, I think, is fine. Not ideal, but it's okay. But at least he plays 14. Then you've got Dolphins. He misses round 16, but as I said, I think I'm okay for that week. Bulldogs, Titans, Tigers in round 19, which is going to be really good and handy. Does miss round 20, which could be a tricky week. But after that, round 21 onwards, Cowboys, Rabbitohs, Titans again, Knights, Dragons, Warriors, Manly. It's a good run for the rest of the season. They don't play Melbourne or Penrith or the Roosters again for the rest of the year. The toughest matchup is probably Broncos round 14, which is not even that bad. So I'm looking at him as someone who is guaranteed 80 minutes playing on the right side. If Hines is going to be fit and firing for the back end of the season, that could be good for Nickera. He's good for this bye period as well with a good draw. So I'm looking at him as probably who I think I want, just because with Preston, I think when Kickout is back, Preston, there's no certainty that he's going to continue to play 80 minutes. He could maybe go back to this maybe 55, 60-minute role, at least with Nickera. He's basing 46 for the season, so he's going to get me 50 most weeks, which is solid enough during this bye period. So I'm looking at him as an option. You could go Wilton, but Wilton has not been playing 80 minutes all season long. So let me just have a quick look at Teague Wilton. Yeah, so during the season, he's played most of the games 80 minutes. Last 2 weeks, though, 67, 76. 76 is pretty much the full 80. But I don't know, I feel a bit more comfortable with Nickera. Decent price at 580. We know he was really good last year. So I think that's why I'm leaning with Nickera. But the only dilemma I'm having now is I won't have enough money so if I do those particular moves, I have 55k in the bank. And the issues in my team next week, I don't have Fafita, and I won't have an easy way to get to him unless I sell someone like Nico, which I still could do. I wouldn't be able to afford Nico Hines to Jerome Hughes and Sean Lane to Fafita though. What I could do is Nico Hines to Wishart and Lane to Fafita. That could be how I get to Fafita if I want him for round 14, because he covers round 16, and then I've already got my 13 players then already for round 16. So that's an option for me, which is why I'm thinking maybe I just take Nikora this week with a good matchup, and then maybe I try to figure it out next week. If I do want to get Fafita, let's see what happens with Origin. I'd rather keep Hines than Angus this week, just because Hines still does have a fixture in round 14 if he does somehow back up. And I'd rather him than, say, Angus. Angus is guaranteed to miss this week, next week, and then round 16. So that's what I'm thinking at the moment with my trades. And I know, guys, apologies. I'll get to your questions as soon as I can. But this is, might be useful for you guys out there just to see where my head's at. So this is what I'm thinking as my trades for today, or for this week, I should say. I have to do it today as well because Talangi's going to lock out. Nikara's going to lock out. I need to make swaps with Iro and whatnot. But yeah, that'd be my way to get Teddy into my team. Teddy would be my captain. And then I'm pretty good for numbers then this week. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I've got 16 numbers for this week, so I don't have to worry so much with like Sean Lane coming off the bench or Sam Hughes not being the best. They can maybe be the ones to drop out of my team. And so lots of Roosters, but then next week, I'll have Teddy, Sam Walker, Terrell May, and Osaka out, and Dom Young. So I'll have 5 players out next week on the bye next week. So I'll have 5 players out, include Joe Chan, 6. So I'll have 6 players out next week, maybe last 6, 7. So even then, I still have 18 players who I could at a pinch play if I had to. So next week, I think I'm just about going to be okay. So again, another reason why I'm still comfortable getting in Teddy this week. And I think he's the best captain this week. So he'll be getting my captaincy. I think I'll stick with vice captain on Karaz as well. I think he's, even though playing at centre is not the best, I think he could be still maybe higher upside than someone like a Dillbags. But can make that decision tomorrow. But anyway, that's what I'm thinking with my team. I think I'm just going to make these trades and lock it in. Otherwise, I'm going to keep umming and ahhing. I've set out my thoughts. And we've got 33 minutes until lockout, so I better get to your questions, shouldn't I? But Matt says, breaking Nikora for us non-owners. Thank you, Aman. Look, you're all welcome, put it that way. Look, Nikora, look, I know he's not been fantastic, but it's a good draw, as I highlighted, pretty much for the rest of the year. Like, if I have to play, like, one thing I did think about was that, do I need to have this money in my second row? I'm going to have Eli Katoa, who's a play every week, Kaipis, Paul, and him, plus say Fafita. I don't necessarily need to target a 4th or 5th second row forward because I'm always going to eventually want to play 2 fullbacks, at least 1 or 2 centers, and then maybe a half. That's already 4 reserves. But the second row forward could be good depth. I already own Samuel Lafino as well. He would have been a good downgrade. Not going to need Nafo or White just because of next week. It's going to be an issue. Anyway, let's get to your questions now. Radley instead of Nikora from Ian. I'm not a personally humongous fan of Radley. I know he's a little bit more expensive than Nikora. Doesn't play next week, and he will benefit during this Origin period because there will be a lot of Roosters middles out. So it's more like he's probably going to be playing 80 minutes. And in his 80-minute games so far this year, 78, 55, 57, 56, 103, 59, and a 96. Like, there are some really good scores there. Even if you take out his tries, we're looking at base of about at least 45 to 50. So really, really solid. But I just think I would just be a little bit concerned as to whether I consider him someone I can hold for the remainder of the season. During this bye period, though, I think pretty good. Covers round, if you need round 16 coverage, I think he's good. As I've said before, I need more coverage in round 19, hence why someone like a Nikora appeals a bit more to me. Say comparison to, say, Preston. Preston's good for 16. 16 at the moment, I'm looking okay as well. Smithies to Bryce Cartwright, worth it. I mean, Smithies has been very, very underwhelming. I do think you can hold him one more week this week, and then next week when he's on the bye, you can just sell him. He's got a 68 break even, but even if he punches out like a 45, he won't go down too much in price. So, like, even Cartwright, I'm not totally convinced. I mean, he's someone I did think about. He's 467k, 54 and 58 in the last 2 weeks, but he did get a try assist, line break assist to pump up his score last week too. I think what people are thinking with Cartwright is Mitchell Moses is back, which is probably going to be good for his attacking stat prospects. He started the season on fire with 116, but since then it's been a bit meh. Yeah, I don't know. Not for me personally. Trindle for Strange. So you're looking to buy Braden Trindle. Yeah, I don't hate it because, as I said, the Sharks draw is pretty good. I mean, Strange does play this week, so you don't have to make that move this week. I don't know what Strange's break even is. I'm just going to have a quick look at it here. What are you looking at with Ethan Strange? It's a 30 break even. So, like, he's not going to lose money. I would give Strange this week and then maybe get Trindle in next week when Strange is on the bye. What was the go with Preston? Buy? Do I sell Hopgood or Yo? Preston is a solid buy for the next 4 to 6 weeks, but I've kind of outlined my reasons why I'm looking to go Nickera instead. Mainly, it's more I needed the round 19 cover, and I'm just a little bit concerned with Preston long term after the next 6 weeks. Is he going to be going back to the full 80 minutes? But for the next 4 to 6 weeks, Bulldogs have got a pretty good run. Cover 16, 13, and 14, which is pretty good. So I can't knock him as a buy. If you're selling one of Hopgood or Isaiah Yo, Isaiah Yo is more likely going to be rested than a Hopgood will. In terms of which one I'd rather keep for the rest of the season, it would probably be Isaiah Yo, I think. I mean, there's price-wise not too dissimilar. Yo's a little bit more expensive. Yeah, Isaiah Yo, he missed 13, could miss 14, misses 16 already, could miss 17, misses 19. I'd be tempted to keep Isaiah Yo. I think he's been so good this year. I know he's going to miss a few games, but yeah, I'd be pretty happy to hold on to him. Edwards to Teddy. Now, this is obviously one of the biggest questions of the week. Do you sell Dylan Edwards? I do think Panthers do have a good draw in terms of Origin players turnaround, so they have a 4-day gap between each of the Origin games. And I do think Edwards is someone who, I said it early on Tuesday, I think I expect him more likely to back up 2 of the 3 games. But if you think that he's going to get more restings, he is also very expensive. Like, you free up a little bit of money going Edwards to Teddy. With these kind of questions, this is a bit of my own insight into my own thinking. When it comes to these kind of things, I always think, if this was my team, if I had Dylan Edwards and I didn't have Teddy, would I make that particular move? I think I would find a way to talk myself into it. There is a risk maybe that Teddy gets back into the Origin frame, but Edwards is like that kind of a player where he's so consistent. I can't see him having bad enough of a game for him to get dropped. So I think he will be there for the rest of this, for the Origin series. Because his backup games are Manly, Cowboys, and Dolphins in each of those 3 weeks that he backs up. I guess, you know what, I'd probably say it's okay because you're going to miss a few games with Edwards during this Origin period. And then when Cleary's back, he's not going to get goal kicking. And then he might go back to like a 70s type of player. So I don't love it, but yeah, I can see the temptation. Is Hines and Walshy to Teddy and Moses good trades? Walsh to Teddy, I think is pretty good. I'd be happy to make that particular move just because I think Teddy is looking really, really good. Season average of about 91 if you take out that concussion game. With Hines, I'm less keen to just sell him straight up this week. I do think he will. My gut still thinks that he's a sell. So I think if you sell him, I think it's okay. Moses, I do feel not necessarily a re-injury risk because I think the nature of his injury was like a fracture of a bone. So like it's one of those ones where once that bone's healed, that's fine. It's not like it's not the same as a hamstring where like there's a bit of re-injury risk. My issue with Moses is that I think he could maybe feature in round game 2 or game 3 for New South Wales, and he might miss a few games there. But that's the only thing. I suspect that he will pick up the goal kicking again. I don't see why he wouldn't not goal kick now that he's back. Parramatta don't have like the easiest run, so we're looking at Sharks, I guess without Hines, Bulldogs, Roosters, not great, misses round 16, Newcastle, Souths, Titans. The run home is really tough as well. Melbourne, so round 21 onwards, Melbourne, Warriors, Panthers, Roosters, Broncos. That is a gross stretch before Tigers and Dragons. I prefer Jerome Hughes during this Origin period, so I feel like if you don't need to make that downgrade this week, I'd probably just go to Hughes. If you can get Sam Walker instead, I do prefer Sam Walker to Moses. But yeah, I'm not too keen myself on Moses. It is a risk reward because we know that he is a good option in SuperCoach when he's fit. But yeah, like Jono's asking halfback option for Hines. For me, Dillbags is solid. Otherwise, Sam Walker I think is good. Jerome Hughes probably my preferred. If you wait a week as well, you could even consider someone like a Sean Johnson next week because the Warriors have actually got a pretty decent run. You're going to sell Tedesco Harrison. yeah, go ahead. Please sell him. The less his ownership is, the more I prefer it. Yeah, Sean Johnson could be back next week as well. I think if any situation you can avoid selling Hines this week, see what happens with New South Wales. See if he ends up even playing. We still don't know yet. It looks as though he's more likely to play. And then if he plays, maybe he doesn't get named. Then you've just got more certainty and more information because, yes, he does have a high break even, but Hines is 100% someone you're going to want for the rest of the season. So I wouldn't just be rushing to sell him. I guess you get a lot of money. If you had to sell this week, you've already got Dillbags and you've already got Sam Walker. If you're okay for numbers this week, I wouldn't even mind going early on like a Jerome Hughes or a Wishart instead because we know that those two are not playing Origin, so there's no risk there. Prodigy Kid, sorry if it's already been asked, just tuned in. You have Tamara Martin and Galvin, but you want Dillbags for this week because neither are playing. Tamara Martin has a great break even for next week. Thoughts? Okay, so you're thinking of, yeah, look, Galvin I would be definitely holding on to because round 19 is going to be a tough week. It will be a very tough week when you look at who actually plays. So I think I'd probably definitely want to hold him. Tamara Martin does have a negative 45 break even, but he comes back to the Cowboys in round 14. It is a very, very tempting low break even for Tamara Martin. So I think I would probably just have to say you probably just need to skip Dillbags. Like, Dillbags is a good option. He's a good player, but he also has not yet cracked 100 this season so far. Look, it could change tonight, but his highest score this season is 96. Like, if he gets to 100 shorts, it's disappointing to miss out on, but it's not like he's going to kill you, you'd think, with like 150 and he's going to get mass captained. Teddy's a little bit of a different vibe. Teddy feels a little bit different. So I think I'd probably want to hold on to your 5-8 pairing there. Going to head off from getting ready for Mulatalo's hat-trick. Good night, my guy. Good luck, everyone. Thank you, Ian. Very much appreciate that. Yeah, Mulatalo, as I've highlighted before with Nicaragua, Sharks do have a really good draw looking ahead. So I think someone like a Mulatalo could be a nice little pod play. If you've already got Teddy in place, maybe you sell Talangi to Mulatalo. I don't actually think that's too bad of a move. Cotter to Manu or Karaz via duels from John. So if you're getting one of Karaz or Manu, I know Manu's got the bye next week, but I 100% would rather have Manu than Karaz this week. I know it's supposed to be wet weather in Sydney, but if anything, that's probably just going to hurt Dom Young. It just probably means the ball's not going to go out to the wing as much. But Manu probably will just crack on, take plenty of runs. And I think with Karaz playing at centre, they're both playing at centre, so I think I prefer Manu anyway. And even if Karaz was on the wing, Manu has still so far this season averaged like in the 80s playing at centre. And I just think you want to get amongst this Roosters attack. They're looking so good, not really that affected by Origin. Like, they've still got Teddy, Sam Walker, Manu, etc. Bulldogs don't have Matt Burton, don't have Stephen Crichton. Those are two big outs for them. So even though it's not a bad matchup against the Knights, it's away. Karaz I can kind of see this week maybe going 50 to 60. Manu I can see this week very easily going 90 again. I'd be much more afraid of not having Manu this week than I would Karaz. So yeah, Manu for me would be the one I would be getting. Yo, Talangi and Lomax to Mulatalo, Preston and Teddy. Good trades. Leaves 254k in the bank from Caden. Yeah, look, Isaiah Yo, like, I get, yeah, he will miss games during Origin, so that's probably okay. Who else are you selling? Talangi, and you're selling Lomax. Yeah, Lomax is also, I think, okay to move on. I'm not going to go into all in detail, but he misses a fair few games during Origin period. Getting Mulatalo, Preston and Teddy, I think they're three really good options for this week, and you got plenty of money to play with in the bank, so yeah, wouldn't mind that. VC Asako, Mazu or Dillbags? Out of those, I'd probably VC Asako. I think he's probably most likely to have a high ceiling, just with the goal kicking. As long as you can still do the loophole. I haven't really considered the loop yet so far in my team, but I've got Garrick. I guess if I don't even know how I would loop, to be honest. All my players will lock out. Ooh, what I should do, should sub in Grant because Lussick will lock out. Yeah, make sure your team's well set up as well, because I just realized I had Lussick. I have Lussick sitting in my starting hooker, but he's not playing at all tonight, and he's going to lock out. So I'd rather he locks out, because Harry Grant is still an option for me to like sub or like put vice captaincy on, because bye players don't lock out until the end of the round. Hell, I don't even know if I could loot. I I guess Hines will lock out today as well. Yeah, geez, I don't even know if I can loop this week. Surely I can loop. Anyway, one to ponder. It probably means maybe I do have to VC deal bags. Or I keep it on Karaz. I might just keep it on Karaz and then we'll go from there. But I probably don't think I can, I probably can't VC Asako. That's fine. Captain Teddy feels great. Jacob Little super pod from Samuel. Little. Yeah, didn't he score like 100 plus last week out of nowhere? 102 points. He did score a try. I mean, he base 55. He's 501k. It's a little bit of an awkward price. Like, I think I'd rather pay 80k less, get Jaden Brayley, who is 426k. Looks like he's also back to playing his 80 minutes. And I think he's cheaper. And he plays 13, 14, and I think the Knights play 16, whereas the Dragons don't. But anyway, that's, I don't know, little maybe. Can't I Captain Grant? Yes, I could. I could. Yeah, sorry, you're right. Yeah, I could just VC Asako and then Captain Harry Grant. You're right. You know what? In that case, I think I will VC Asako and yell Captain Grant. Nice. Is Gerbo a sell? I'm surprised people have Gerbo. No offense to Gerbo owners. Bring in Rapana this week from Will Dive. Sorry, I just had to respond to a couple of messages. If your captain doesn't play a VC double. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Benny G is just explaining the VC loophole. Good man. Yeah, Captain Grant for VC. Yep, that's fine. So yeah, sorted. I think I'm going to VC Asako and just hope for some junk time. Microwave? No, I wasn't the microwave. I was just responding to my phone. Thoughts on Mitch Moses? I think I've covered this. So I think if you can rewind back a little bit, that's probably ideal. But no, I'm not personally too keen. Minus Fafita or Teddy a bigger target if you can only go for one. Oof, goodness me. If I could only get one of Teddy or Fafita. So Teddy without that concussion game is averaging 90. Fafita pretty much is averaging similar. It's like averaging 86. But he's more expensive as well. But he's so far and away the best second row forward. Like, Teddy is good, but you can make an argument at fullback. There are still other options that you can consider that get you, similar to maybe what Teddy's doing. Yeah, you know what? I'd probably actually say Fafita. As crazy as that sounds. Which makes me think now, should I be forcing in Teddy? You know what? I want to have fun. I want to watch my team, and I want to watch Teddy as my captain this week. What are your thoughts on Lemuelu? Thinking Crichton and Tuapiki to Lemuelu and Manu. Already have Fafita. Yeah, Lemuelu is a bit of an antipod, I guess, to Aitken, because a lot of people are thinking of maybe you and Aitken this week. Lemuelu is cheaper. Looks like he's back to playing 80 minutes as well. So he's played 80, 80, and 70 in the last 3 weeks. Solid enough base, 38, 52, and 49. So probably 52 and 49 more reflective of what he should actually be getting. So... So really, really solid. Covers, obviously, he the big issue is he misses next week, but he will cover 16 and 19, which is huge. Lemuelu is perfectly fine as well. But, I mean, he's pretty much the same price as Nikra, but see, I probably need the number for next week more than I do maybe, say, for 16, so that's why I'm looking at Nikra instead. Any love for hands in for Lussick will allow me to bring in Katoa and Fafita next week. Like... I don't hate it because Hands could actually end up being just like the 80-minute hooker for the Eels. We just don't know yet. The only reason I like it in your case, James, is because it lets you get in Katoa and Fafita next week. That's the only reason why. So in that case, it's probably worth it. But as a standalone trade, I don't feel like I have to force it into my team. I'm thinking Hines to dual bags to free up cash for Blaze to Fafita via duels next week. Are you backing me? Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I know Hines, I'm saying you ideally hold on to next week, but yeah, I think in the end, I think that will probably work out just fine. And you get Fafita via Talangi next week. Looks really, really good. Sivo as a pod. I mean, I know Sivo's been good the last couple of weeks, but yeah, the Eels matchups, I don't love it for the next couple of weeks. Like, he scored he scored a double and then a try in the last 3 weeks, but just such a low base player, like basing 18 for the season. Seems to get himself suspended every now and then. Like Sharks this week isn't like a crazy good matchup. Bulldogs have been pretty decent. And then Roosters before a bye in round 16. Like I don't love the next few weeks. So yeah, I'm not personally too keen on Sevo. I'd rather get like a Herbie Farnworth around the same price as a pod. Or wait until like a DWZ next week. Or get like Mulatalo. I definitely prefer Mulatalo. Why not save trades? Just because it's good to save trades, ideally. But I also just really want Tedesco. And this gives me, 15 or 16 players. And I think my bottom two could be easily... I feel like I'm nullifying all of my major threats for this week. So, and look, Teddy and the Roosters have got such a good draw. I think about it a little bit more. I think Teddy's more likely to be not playing for New South Wales just because I think Edwards is less likely to have a bad game. So I think he's just going to be safe in that Origin squad. So I think Teddy, I'm happy to keep. He could be a season keeper as well. Like with Teddy, it's a great week to get him with a really good matchup. Probably the best captain choice. Misses next week, but then you've got Parramatta, Bulldogs, Tigers, Dragons. Melbourne is a bit tough, but then Manly, Dolphins, Parramatta, Titans, Canberra, Souths. Like, it's such a good run for the Roosters, and they're putting on so many points. Yeah, I think Teddy could just be maybe a season keeper at fullback. Could be him and Edwards, maybe Reece Walsh, maybe Ponga when he comes back. But like Teddy, very easily with that draw could be one for the next for the rest of the season. Saving trades is for cowards, as Benny G says. So yeah, go with that line of thinking. Hence why I'm not saving trades, because I don't want to be called a coward. No, but look, if you can save trades and you've got a pretty good looking team this week, then obviously no harm. But ideally what I think I'll do is probably another 2 trades next week and then maybe save in round 15 and then try to prepare in round 16 for maybe getting an extra player. Is it worth going Drinky to Teddy? Probably not, just because, look, I know Drinkwaters hasn't got the best matchup this week, but he is at least playing, and he does play 14 as well, and he plays 15. But then by round 16, I think he could be a sell, probably to someone maybe like Latrell Mitchell if he's not playing Origin. Who are the ideal fullbacks to have? I think we might just skip that question. That's probably a longer term one, but yeah, Teddy could be one of them. Thoughts on what to do with CNK and Garner from Mason Gibson? CNK, so yeah, he was out last week very randomly. Misses this week as well. He's only available at fullback. I mean, if you can go CNK to Teddy, I think that'd be pretty solid. With Luke Garner, what's the situation with him? I haven't really been following the Luke Garner situation that much. He's 636k, 45 break even. I mean, if he's not been named this week, you could just move Garner on to someone a little bit cheaper, like a Preston maybe, free up 100k. That 100k could be what you do to get CNK to Tedesco. Jack saying Angus to Nickera, Brooks to Walker, Fuller to Teddy. Yeah, that's a nice set of 3 trades, Jack. I like them. Really good. Sorry. Not bad. All right. Nickera or Kolomatangi for head-to-head. So I'm not too well versed with the head-to-head side of things. I guess if you're looking at that, Nickera does have a good draw for the rest of the season, and he does play the last 2 weeks of the year. And if you have like head-to-head finals, so does Kolomatangi, but Kolomatangi's run home is probably a little bit tougher. So you're looking at round 25, 26, 27, 23. Sorry, let's look for the run home, say round 20 onwards for Kolomatangi. It's Tigers, Canberra, Sharks, Melbourne, West Tigers, Knights, Penrith, Roosters. That end of the season run is a little bit tough. Nickera, I don't think, has got it as bad. I mean, Kolomatangi is averaging a little bit more, and he has got a ton so far. He got a ton last week against Parramatta. His base is a little bit higher than Nickera. He's probably got more of a ceiling, I guess. So if maybe for head-to-head that works, but Nickera's probably a safe one who maybe could go back to last year's form. Kolomatangi, I don't know. I feel like I've seen more meh games from him this year in terms of Supercoach. I'd probably still edge Nickera. Hey man, do you think Cardi hold on to a spot once Maddo is back? Yes, I think so, because I think Madison, when he comes back, is probably just going to play some kind of middle role. So I think Cartwright is probably likely, I think, to be staying on the right-hand side. Bailey Smith, $5. Thank you very much. Appreciate that a lot. Thanks for all the content, mate. Would you go Chan to White or Lussick to JMK? Lussick to JMK, I think. Because I think Lussick is, he's equally an issue as Joe Chan, but JMK is just like a season keeper. White, I think, is very, very short term. I know people are looking at him as a downgrade this week, but he misses next week. And look, I think he'll be good doing this little Origin run for for the Roosters, because the Roosters will have a few players out for New South Wales. But JMK, like, you can lock him in for the rest of the year, and you don't need to worry about him again pending any injury. And he does cover all of those major bye weeks, which is really handy. To me, that feels like a better upgrade than Chan to White. So that's probably what I do. But yeah, thank you so much, Bailey. That is very, very generous. Blaze or Iro to Teddy, Talangi, in my opinion, Reese. I had the same decision. I went Blaze, just even though he's got the negative break even. As I've said, like, I think his cash in is going to end soon, because if he keeps coming off the bench, he's going to go from like a negative 20 break even. If the scores start rolling, if those big scores that he's got in the last few weeks start rolling out of his average, all of a sudden his break-in is going to skyrocket, and then you're like, okay, you have to sell. Iro, I think, is going to be really good during this Origin period. Covers 13, 14, and 19. Really good draw as well. I don't know if he's necessarily a season keeper, but you can confidently play him every week. You can't really do that with Talangi at the moment. So yeah, Blaze out for me. JMK or Coruscant. I actually really like Coruscant, just because of the price saving that you get on him compared to JMK, and he's still goal kicking. West Tigers do have a nice little run, and in terms of actual matchups, and they don't have a draw. They don't have a bye until round 26. So from round 14 all the way to round 26, you don't have to worry. They play every game. So I guess the only downside is Coruscant maybe comes back in for an Origin game. But yeah, I do like Coruscant, but I guess for this week, I mean, purely in terms of who I think will outscore each other, you know what? I'm gonna stick to Coruscant, because he's only averaging 2 less than Marshall King this year, but he is also like 100k cheaper. Hey man, should I do Nick Meaney or Farlongo to Teddy? Ooh, probably Farlongo. I know Farlongo's got some good scores, and I think he's still got a negative break even, but Pappy will be back soon. Farlongo's probably likely going to have to eventually be sold in your team. Nick Meaney can stay there the rest of the year. Talangi or Lane last reserve. I think you've probably got to take Sean Lane. Just, you think that he's more likely to get more minutes off the bench compared to Talangi. How are we going for time? We're on 7 minutes left. Okay. So yeah, I think that's my team. You know what? I'll see if I can. Let's see if I can post my team on socials at the same time. Although people should just be watching the stream, and they'll see what my team looks like in full. So maybe I shouldn't reward those people who aren't watching my content. Hey, Mom, would you do Blaze to Armstrong TX from James? Thank you very much for that donation. Very, very kind of you. Yes, I'd be very... Sorry, I am answering your question, but also trying to post at the same time. I'd be very, very comfortable doing Blaze to Armstrong. So Armstrong is good for until round 20. You free up like, 150-ish K. And Armstrong plays rounds 13, plays round 14, plays round 16, I want to say. Or is it round 19? Let's have a look. Big negative break even as well. So you can kind of like kickstart cash gen as well. He plays around 19, which I think is the more tricky week. So yeah, absolutely. I think Armstrong is better to have than what's his face? Talangi at the moment. So yeah, no, absolutely would be doing that trade. But thank you so much for that $3 donation. Very, very kind of you. It's going to pay for 3/4 of my coffee tomorrow morning. Benny G, $5, very, very appreciated. Angus to Preston, Blaze to Teddy, Hines to Brown this week, and next week Smithies to Fafita and Egan to Appy, yay or nay? That's a lot of trades, Benny. I know you do love using your trades. Sorry, 1 second. Angus to Preston, yep, frees up money. Blaze to Teddy, love that. Hines to Brown. The only thing, maybe, Benny, can you do Hines to downgrade next week? And I guess probably not, because you want to do Egan to Appy. I mean, Wade Egan will be back next week as well. So the only thing I'm thinking in your situation, Benny, is if you could do Angus to Preston, Blaze to Teddy, and that's it. Brown, Brown is good for this week, so maybe I get the Hines to Brown. Maybe I don't mind doing those first three, and then maybe what you can do next week is Smithies to Fafita. I don't think you need to force Egan to Appy though, because I suspect that Wade Egan will be back next week. But at least you're getting in 3 players this week, and Dillbags is a good threat. Yeah, it's pretty tasty. Yeah, I think for this week that's completely fine. You probably don't need to force Egan to Appy. But yeah, no, otherwise in general I do like him. But thank you, Benny, for that donation. Extremely kind of you. And yeah, guys, as R2 Rusty says, what are you doing? Give the stream a like. Yes, please. That would be very, very helpful if you can give the stream a like. It does help me out. Gets the word out to the peoples out there on the YouTube land about Aman Talks NRL Supercoach. Someone sent the SE Whisperer a message saying, "Oh, I saw this cool YouTuber. His name's Aman. He does cool graphics." I was like, oh, bless. That's exactly what I want to read. I love that. Those are some yeah, okay. No Whitehead gives away too many penalties. Elliot Whitehead pod captain, not a chance. No way. No offense, sorry. Not to just brush off, not just to brush your suggestions so fast, but I wouldn't be doing that. Is Robson to Appy sideways? Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned with that move just because there is a potential risk that Appy does get back into that team. That's for New South Wales. That's the only thing. Okay. Angus to Nickera is going to happen. Talangi to Teddy, captain. Instead of Teddy, I might just put a bear sign. Teddy bear. Teddy bear. All right, what other questions we've got coming in? Thanks, Legend. Always appreciate your insights. No, not at all. Aman, help me with my question, please. I'm going to have to find your question now, Jason. That's the problem. We've got 3 minutes left. I found it. Thoughts on Gus, Hines, and Talangi to Aiken, Brown, and Teddy. Very similar to trades to what Benny was actually saying. You already have Manu, Walker, and Young, so... Oh, no. I remember your question, Jason, on Twitter. You know, I remember saying, yeah, absolutely no problem getting Teddy in as well. There could be a lot of points in that. Any suggestions for other round 19 2RS? I'll go with Aiken. There's not much for round 19. Britton Nickera is one. He's the one who I'm going with. You've got Kolomatangi if you can afford to not get him in. If you don't need his numbers this week. You've got Dylan Lucas is the one who I know people are looking at. He's got the dual. Jack DeBellin is another one. So I think just be wary of next week because you are loading up on players who are missing next week, Jason. If you're a little bit concerned about that, you can maybe go, Nickera. If you need a number this week, Nickera is maybe a good one, or Teague Wilton. Or you can go Jack DeBellin, who plays this week, and also 19, or Dylan Lucas. That's the only players I'd say to consider as well. Gus to White or JDB. I mean, there's a big difference in price between the two. I mean, long term, you can probably lock in Jack DeBellin, and he's got a handy duel as well. When's Cooler supposed to be back? I think Cooler was out for 2 to 4 weeks, and that was last week. So I suspect him back maybe round 15. And he could definitely be someone we will look at because Manly do play round 16 and 19. So that could be pretty handy. Aman, trade Danny Levi or get either Teddy Manu. Only wanted to trade this week. I mean, don't worry about Danny Levi. Go get Teddy this week instead. That's way better use of a trade, in my opinion. I'm just going to post my team really quick on the Instagram. Okay, how are we going? Sorry, guys. Teddy in for Talangi, Nickera in for Angus. Thanks, Aman. Another great stream. Yeah, thank you very much. We've got 1 minute left. I'm just happy that the internet didn't die. My laptop is about to, though. What are we on? 4% battery. Oh, geez. Okay. Better wrap this one up, though. Who did I tip? Oh, God, my tipping. Oh, my goodness. My tipping. I haven't done my tips. All right. Yeah, okay. Well, let's watch me do it live on stream. With 1 minute to go. Thank you, R2 Rusty. You good man. Oh, I have. Oh, thank God. I've already tipped. I've tipped Sharks. Ooh, I don't know how I feel about that. Parramatta can't keep losing. Let's change that to Para by 6. And then we'll go, I've got Newcastle, I've got Penrith, I've got the Dolphins, and then I've got Roosters. So yeah, that's my tips. I'm only changing the Parramatta tip. Anyway, there you go. Tips submitted, done. Take care, man. Thanks for the great stream. Very much appreciated. Thanks, everyone. Give the stream a like on the way out when you do, just to help with the algorithm. We'll probably wrap it up there. We're on like 20 seconds left anyway. But thanks all for tuning in. Hopefully, we'll be back on Sunday evening to wrap up the shortened week of round 13. But otherwise, have a good rest of your weekend. Good luck for your Supercoach team this week. Catch you all in the next one.